So we're on Chess TV now, so we have more viewers. For those of you who just showed up,
Wait, what's that number? Is that the number of viewers?
No, that's the number of points. That's nothing. This is the number of viewers.
Got it.
That's how long we've been streaming. And then we're vegan.
So also
he's also a vegan. So there you go.
I would say I'm more vegetarian, but I'm trying to be vegan.
Yeah.
One of my daughters is vegan.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me show you the Karpov game.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about it earlier, and I'll tell you guys the story. Let me get the PGN. PGN. Yeah. So there's a very long story with this game, but that's good because it takes up time. So let me do live chess.
I want to tell while you're there. I want to tell a story you told me. I asked Ben earlier. Could Caruana beat Paul Morphy blindfolded? And you said something very interesting. Is that you ran that opera game, the Paul Morphy famous opera game, through the computer, and it had like a 99% accuracy.
Yeah.
So he was playing like today's GM level.
Yeah. No, but you were even saying like any world champion.
Yes.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
Okay, if you put like Petrosian right now down against you time traveled Petrosian from 1965 to now.
Caruana is better, but I mean, draw is probably still the most likely result.
Okay.
Petrosian. Now, when Petrosian was no longer Petrosian, this was like in the late 70s when he was finished.
Yeah.
He beat Kasparov like twice. When Kasparov was beating everybody, like Kasparov was like, but in the 80s, Petrosian beat, and Petrosian died like in 85, but like in 82, 83, he beat Kasparov.
Yeah,
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Everything everybody says is ridiculous.
And Smyslov,
especially me.
Smyslov played Kasparov in the candidates matches before the first match with Karpov.
Yeah, not only that, Smyslov won 2 candidates matches before.
Yeah.
So who did he beat? Whom did he beat? Whom?
I think maybe Ulf Anderson, actually. I'm not sure.
No, he beat Ribley.
Oh, okay.
And then he beat one other person, but it wasn't Hubner. Oh, he might have beat Hubner where they spun the roulette wheel. Was that him?
Oh, yeah.
Was that him?
Yeah.
Might have been. Yeah, he didn't do well against Kasparov. It was like three wins and 7 draws or something for Kasparov.
Oh, okay, Smyslov didn't win.
No, he was 63.
Yeah.
So that's the truth. Yeah, he said God told him he'd be world champion. Right? I don't know what he's talking about fictional characters for. What is this all about?
Kasparov said that?
No.
Oh,
Smyslov said when he was 63 that God said he'd be world champion again.
Huh. Well,
yeah.
George Foreman became boxing world champion at the age of 40 again.
No, it was much older than 40.
I'm not
much older. It was like 50.
Oh yeah, maybe you're right.
It was much older. Yeah.
I'm not giving up on older people. I'm trying to get back to the level I was.
Yeah.
And it's hard because 2200s now are much better than 2200s in the 90s, and B, I could just tell I've declined in value. In self-worth.
Okay, so this is one of my favorite stories, which I just told him before the stream. In Tilburg, 1991, which is in the Netherlands, Interpolis is the sponsor, and they're an insurance company in Tilburg, and they sponsor the tournament, and it's at their offices. They just close a whole floor of their building, and it's just the chess tournament. Okay, so first story I want to tell you is, I went to the tournament with my mom. She was visiting us because like Spencer was born or something. Okay, true. Yeah, Spencer was a baby. Yeah, he was born in June of 91. Yeah. So she visited us. The chances of my mom flying to Europe by herself are much less than 0%. Okay. And I talked to my good friend Calvin, and he said, yeah, about -273 chances. And I was like, what? My mom flew to Europe because she wanted to see the baby. Unbelievable. Okay. So we go to Tilburg. It's 2 trains from Brussels to something to Tilburg. On the first train, we see the strangest looking person who ever lived. Nobody's ever looked, although I actually know somebody looks stranger, but that's another story.
He's sitting right next to you, so you don't want to.
Yeah. So then my mom and I are like, how can this guy be a person? So then I jokingly said, maybe we'll see him at the tournament. This was on the first train. When we got to the tournament, he was standing there in the building. So he was taking the same 2 trains we were. But anyway, it turned out that was Kasparov. No. So anyway, Kasparov is playing Karpov, and it's the greatest game ever. The game's about to end. I go to, there's 2 Skittles room. Each Skittles room has 2 chessboards in it because there's 8 players in the tournament. So I went in one Skittles room and I destroyed the Skittles room. I just threw everything on the floor and I closed the door. I went to the other Skittles room. I took the chess set and I put it on the floor, and I sat down next to the only chess set. 5 minutes later or so, Karpov and Kasparov came in with like 8 million people following them, reporters and GMs and stuff. And I sat there and watched them analyze this game. And people were like standing on each other to see them analyze. And Kasparov gave variation after variation after variation after variation, and Karpov sat there very glum because he lost the game.
What were they speaking English?
Yeah,
Russian?
but mainly English because everybody's watching.
Yeah.
So Okay, Brussels to Maastricht. I don't know. It's 1991. We're supposed to remember that. Okay, so here's the game. It's a scotch. I annotate this game for Chess Life. So if you have a Chess Life from 1991 and it talks about this tournament, you'll see my notes. Thanks, Crimson Hawk. Hey, we have 2020. That's good vision there. Okay, so they played a scotch. And they played this mainline variation. Now, when I lived in Belgium, the best player in Belgium was Luc Winans. He's a GM. He was an IM then. He's a GM now. And he was the world's leading authority on E4, E5. If you looked at the E4, E5 opening, he would tell you the history of the variation. He would say, in 1830, they played this. Then in 1870, they played the, and then he would, okay. So in this position, he told me, and this is in 1990, he said, this move is better than this move. And they were both played like a million times. Like GMs, half of them played here, half of them played here. And he's like, no, this isn't good. So I believed anything he said on E4, E5, even though he was an IM. I still believed him. Okay.
I like the shade you just threw on all of IMs, all the IMs out
That's
there.
right, even though he was an IM. Well, I was an
Even
IM too. Yeah. Okay, so he played bishop a6. So Luke Winans would be really mad now. Because bishop's not good there. The bishop's just bad there. And one of the reasons to play this early is to castle queenside as early as possible. But you don't only want your bishop on a6, it's better on b7. So when you play c5, this is better.
Why would you ever consider a g6, bishop g7, castle kingside? Because
that's the engine agrees.
Okay.
Yeah, then you really don't want to play that.
Because where's the bishop going to go from here?
Yeah. And I showed this to Axl Rose, and he didn't know where it would go. Sweet child. Okay, so he played like you. That's why he lost. I mean, no, that's okay. Yeah, Kasparov only moves pawns in his queen, just like we teach the kids. Never play f6. Terrible. Let's see. Chat is ridiculous. Okay. Bishop a3 attacking the queen. Karpov saw it. Queen d2. Now he's threatening the knight.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, give me the knight. Two knight. Knight b6. I want to get to the important part of the game.
Is this all theory still?
Probably this is like the end of the prep. I don't know. This is probably prep. Take. You see how crazy it is?
Yeah.
Karpov's not playing crazy unless he knows it.
Sure.
Okay. Take. Now the bishop on a3 is hanging. Yeah. Okay. So this is the most amazing thing in chess history until I show you the next thing. Then that's more amazing.
Wait, so
Yeah.
it's white to move, obviously.
White to move.
The first instinct is bishop f8.
Never always play bishop f8. The engine says after bishop f8, bishop takes g2, white is better. But he played a better move, Kasparov. Now, I've said this on stream many times. When Kasparov was at his best, he sees more than the engines do now. I saw him at his best. I saw it. I saw him analyze. It's from another planet. And Anand was very close. Anand in his 40s and 50s is just playing 25 moves of theory and agreeing to a draw. Anand, when he was a teenager and in his 20s, he saw every variation all the way to the end, like Kasparov and Fischer. My dad analyzed with Fischer. Fischer saw, because he played him, Fischer saw all the way to the end, every variation to the end of the game. Like 30 every move. Ridiculous. And Kasparov was like that, and Kasparov was prepared to the teeth. So because he had like a team of people. So Kasparov was the best openings player, and he was the best calculator. Ridiculous. So unbeatable. Okay, so Kasparov played a move here I would never consider.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to guess e6.
Right.
And I'm only guessing because you laid the territory. That's a weird move that no one would guess.
Yeah, that's the
but after pawn takes, or after queen takes, either king takes f1, bishop takes, knight takes, and then you have the rook could slide over. If rook takes knight, you have the rook could slide over and pin the queen against the king.
Yeah, and in fact, yeah. So here's the main idea. You were saying this, or you weren't?
Yeah.
Okay.
If
right.
that.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the one line. So that's why queen takes is bad.
Yeah. So I don't know if pawn takes what
That's
happens.
what he did. Okay. And he took on f8, and he played rook d8, which is not. Well, actually, rook d8 is okay. Now, remember when this pawn was here before e6?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you play bishop takes g2, I play queen takes, and I say hello to my little friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, now you just lose material because you're down. Okay, but in this position, if you play bishop f8 and I play bishop takes g2, and you play queen takes g2, and I play rook takes f8, this position, even though white's a piece up, white has a lot of issues. Okay, the king has nowhere safe to go. The center's collapsing. Black has pawns. Black has the A file and the F file. And strangely, this is like, the engine's like 0.6 for white. Like, even though he's a piece up, because he has a lot of issues. And this solves all the issues. E6. Yeah, that was amazing. E6.
So he would have had to have seen that.
Oh, I mean,
before. I mean,
you'll never understand how much he sees. I mean, not now. Now he doesn't see anything. But when he was good, he saw way more than I could ever explain to you. Way more than the engine.
Although know, there was one stream where he was doing puzzles with Hikaru, and there was one really hard 3,000 rated puzzle, and he closed his eyes for 30 seconds, and then saw the whole thing 15 moves in. I never understand when they close their eyes. And
he would have closed his eyes for 1 second when he was at his best. You can't, yeah. Okay, so now he played rook d8. If you play bishop g2 and I take, and you take with the, something.
You have to take with the king.
Yeah, king takes. Yeah. This position, compared to the other position, this is no compensation for black. There's nothing, there's no pawn on e5. There's not this phalanx of pawns here. This is just piece up for nothing. Yeah, so e6 is genius. Okay, Karpov played rook d8, confusing the audience. Man, Kasparov was so good. I just feel terrible. Well, I feel bad because he's not what he used to be.
But it's like what you were saying though. He's involved in human rights foundations.
Yeah, he's old.
He really values what he's doing now.
Okay, so queen b2, and then they got to this piece up position. Yeah, and then he wrapped it up. Man, I like this. See, this is why Kasparov was so good. A lot of human GMs would not do that because it looks silly.
Yeah. And
Kasparov played like a computer before computers were good. He was like, that's the right move.
Okay, so I don't quite get it actually. Queen c7. Mm-hmm. What happens on rook c8?
You're in check.
Oh, you're in check. So yeah, no big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was so good. Man, I just terrible. Man, talk about not resigning. Oh, he resigned here. Good. I was like, man, guy's getting 7 queens over here. And then black resigned.
And so what were they analyzing? What were the main lines they were going over?
Oh, got a 1991. I don't know. All I remember was he played e6, and we were like, wow, what a move. Unbelievable. He did that a lot, though. He played moves that were just amazing.
Did you ever see his game? It was around the same time with Sharov. It might have been...
you mean sacking the rook? Rook takes...
Yeah, and then doing b4 to dominate. And then doing b4 to dominate.
A lot of people who were good, saw that game and they're like, why do you do that? And then I've shown that game too.
Yeah, somebody came up to him after he made the move.
Exchange.
And said, Gary, didn't you take the class in Soviet class on rooks are worth more than knights? So that was Gary. Thought that was funny that someone said that to him.
Mm-hmm. For those of you who are joining us late, this is Toucher. This is James. Don't touch her, I'll touch her.
Yes,
he shouldn't, but I don't. What? He's famous in his own right, but not for chess.
Not famous, but
not for,
infamous.
No, but Wikipedia, so you're famous.
All right,
that's the way it goes.
You're on Wikipedia too,
right? Now,
we're Wikipedia.
Whenever somebody asks me, and nobody does, I always ask. But if somebody asks me, like me, who's more famous, who's better between two people. Doesn't matter if it's the same. One could be like a music, one's an actor.
Yeah.
I look at their Wikipedia and see which one's longer.
All right.
And so Morphy has like a 9,000 page Wikipedia, so I know he was good at chess because mine's like this.
Yeah.
Ben Finegold exists. That's the Wikipedia. Morphy's like, he did this, he did that, he did it with a wiffle ball bat. I mean,
Sometimes with those Wikipedia things, though, you got to be.
Yours is a lot longer than mine, but like 10 times longer.
There was a guy for a while who, like, for whatever reason, he had some issue with me. This guy from England, somewhere in England, and he would edit my page every single day, taking stuff out.
Yeah.
And I had to call Jimmy Wales and find out like how like this guy was just taking stuff down that was and putting stuff that was untrue. And it's a drag, all the social media.
Yeah, when your
stuff.
name is Altucher, then
I'm Me Too'd every day.
You gotta watch
every time
it.
I say my last name, I'm Me Too'd.
Yeah, I think pronouncing it wrong is the right way to go. Can you imagine in this position, you're analyzing king takes, rook takes, bishop takes, and you play e6, and it's the best move. Engine approved now. Now today's engines approve. I've looked at Kasparov games where nobody could ever find any of the moves, and the engine says, yep, every move. And I'm like, what? Like, none of it makes any sense. Well, you know the famous Topolov game. To me, that's like, okay. The Topolov game.
Yeah.
But that's okay. But there's other games that are more like brutal where he's making moves that don't make any sense, and then he's just completely winning.
I'm curious how much of this was home preparation.
Well, I don't know what theory is. Let's see. Here. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. In 1991? I mean, in 91, that wasn't really the time where you're spending... Like, ChessBase then, you're sitting down, right?
Yeah.
ChessBase for DOS. That was the first ChessBase.
Yeah,
ChessBase for DOS. Truth hurts. Yeah, they don't know what DOS is because they're all in their teens.
With ICC, we tried to do a deal with ChessBase actually to get like the opening library in there, but it didn't work out.